all these people in the room for One Team, One Mission. I'm so glad you came out here. Hasn't it been amazing to hear all these stories? You know, it's interesting because when people get to know me and they say, you're just a real person, I'm like, yeah, I'm just a real person. All the girls that I went to high school with are just finally getting on board, and they're like, well, she can do it. We know we can do it. Nathan and I were both school teachers and coaches, and when we got married, we were going to wait a few years to have a baby, and all the teachers' lounge talk was about infertility, and I was scared to death to be infertile. And so I said, well, we better start trying, because if I'm infertile, then it's going to take a couple of years. And within like a week, we were pregnant. So here we had a little guy on the way, and for those of you that don't know, Mark Pentecost, the CEO, he is my dad. And that didn't make me a sure thing for this business, because he tried several times to get me in, and I wanted to be a teacher, I wanted to be a coach. It's all I ever wanted to do. And little did I know that God had been preparing me all along the way to use those gifts and talents and desires for this. Because people ask me all the time, do you miss coaching? And I say, no, I coach every day. They're like, do you miss teaching? I say, no, I teach every day. Do you miss the kids or the people? I said, no, I'm still with a bunch of big kids every day. And it's just life-changing. Nathan and I, we were double income, no kids, but there was still never any money left at the end of the month. We were always, you know, there just was never any money. And we'd eat Pizza Hut one time a week and thought we were living it big, and we bought a new vehicle, and no idea why we did that, because I think the mortgage on that, or the payment on that, was higher than our mortgage. But we just weren't at the time yet in our life where we needed something like this. But I'm so glad that when we hit that transition point, I remember sitting in the back of the room, hearing my dad do his little spiel for the company he'd gotten involved with at the right time. And I remember him saying, until you hit that time in your life where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or where tomorrow is not going to look like today, that until that happens, something like this will not at all appeal to you. And I thought, I am so there. If I have to ask my mother-in-law again for another pair of shoes for my son, I was just over that. And so we got started with It Works. It took me 6 months to sign one DT, and it was Debbie Sasek. And I had never done anything like this before, but I believed in the industry because I'd watched my dad be successful in it. And so a lot of people you hear talking, they're saying they believed in it because someone they knew was having success in it. And I knew that I could do this business. I knew that this business could be exactly what would help us get to where we wanted to be. I mean, when I got out of school and got that first paycheck, I remember thinking I was going to be making big girl money, and it would go as far as I wanted it to, and it just doesn't go very far. And I started thinking, what am I going to do? Ask Daddy for money? No, that didn't work in our family. But I didn't want to shrink my dreams. I wanted to grow my dreams. I wanted to provide. I wanted to take my kids on Disney trips and send them to private schools, the best private schools. And we just couldn't do that on 2 teacher salaries. And so when we got started with It Works, it was a very slow go. I promise you this, the opportunity today is so much greater than it was when we got started. And I cannot believe the kind of income people are making in such a short amount of time. And I guess I would say to you, if you could make well into 6-figure income if you stuck with this for 6 years, would you do it? That might mean that for 2 years you make pretty much nothing. Would you still do it? Would you still hit your head upside the wall and continue to go forward with it? Because Mike said it in the beginning, and I was like, dang, he's stealing my line. You know, you have to be willing to do what most people won't if you're going to have what most people will never have. And this is crazy. I think it's crazy we're calling it a crazy rap thing, because network marketing is crazy. But it is fun. It is life-changing, and you have to do it for yourself first. You have to believe in it and do it for yourself first. And my aha moment is, it seems like people call me today, and I am constantly getting people on Facebook, and it's because they've been watching, they've been stalking for months, years, and they finally, the light bulb turned on, they're going through a transition point, they're sick and tired, they're calling me up going, just tell me what you got, or they're inviting themselves over for dinner at my house, and they just want you to tell you a little bit about it. But you know, I am just so excited about this business, and I know that if you were invited into this room, you're here for a reason. Probably the biggest thing that I've noticed about this company is that the Lord's hands are all over it. And when you get to know the people in this room and you realize how they're just like every single one of you here, you will know that we have the Lord's face shining on us right now. And To whom much is given, much is expected, and I'm telling you, we are so excited to have you on this journey with us. If you feel this is where you're supposed to be, and this is the time you're supposed to do it, and you might be sitting there and you heard about it 2 years ago, and you're thinking, why didn't I do it 2 years ago? Because it wasn't the right time for you then. This is your time, right now, no regrets, go all in, pedal to the metal. You will never regret any minute you spend with this business. Dave Stasek says it's a professional development program with a compensation plan, and it really is, because you will learn more about yourself than you ever cared to learn, but you're going to grow more than you ever thought you could grow, and I'm continuing to grow and having, Chris said it right, aha moments every single day. But the biggest thing for me right now is I can look you in the face, I can look you in the eye, and I can promise you that if you work hard at this, this will change your life like it has changed all of ours.